Everybody, to Great Yarns version of Stitches at Home. We're going to start off our weekend with Laura Bryant and Prism. I'm sure that most of you are intimately aware of Laura and her company, but for those of you that might not be, I want to tell you that Prism has been in business for 35 years. Laura is not only the owner, the creative force behind it, the designer, etc. Every skein of yarn that walks out her door, every skein of Prism that you touch, she has dyed. She's touched it. She's made it her own. So it really is a labor of love. And I know that Laura can tell you a little bit more about that, but just so that you know, it really is a very personal product to her and to me. I've been collaborating and working with Laura all those 35 years as well. So we have wonderful history together, and it's always a pleasure for me to introduce you to Laura. I am going to give you a couple of housekeeping things. First of all, you can, all the things that we are showing today, you can also see on our website. If you go to www.greatyarns.com, on the home page, you will see Stitches at Home. Tap on Stitches at Home and you will see Prism. Tap on that and you will be able to see all of the garments and the yarns that Laura is showing today. Far beyond that, we also have a lot more of her kits and yarns available, and you'll go to either kits and Prism or yarns and kits, etc. My cohort here, Carrie, we've been together a long time. Carrie is, so I'm a retailer. Carrie is an independent sales rep for Prism as well. Laura is the wholesaler. So the three of us together bridge the yarn industry from retailer to wholesaler and sales. So Carrie's going to be here minding the chat. I encourage you to use the chat. Let us know if you have questions and so forth. Having enough time at the end, we'll have some Q&A with Laura. So
when should I send the email? Like around?
I'm just going to ask everyone if they please mute themselves.
Like 1 o'clock?
And then if you have a question.
Send the email to me about the game.
Somebody's talking.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I can do it too early.
All right, everybody. Yeah.
Mute all.
Please mute. So Laura, you might have to unmute here. All right, are you good, Laura?
Yep, I think so. Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Okay.
I want to say one other thing about Prism. Prism, because Laura touches everything and she is so strict about quality control, it has to be the best company out there, the best hand dyer out there, as far as the quality of the dye and the yarn itself, the winding, the labeling, the designs that you can run across. So we believe in Laura and we believe in wholeheartedly. So with that, we're going to turn it over.
It's yours, Laura.
All righty. Thanks for coming out to play with us today. I'm glad to see you guys. Always some new faces, and then all of your dear friends that we've developed over the years, and I love seeing you. And so we have a few new things for today that will be fun for those who have seen me recently, and then a few highlights of things that we're going springy that are kind of really seasonal. So I'm going to start with our new dynamic duo. And this is a kit that the pattern includes two different options. And the first option is a remake of our triple treat, which was a pattern that had three options. And this is a great sampler stitch, long rectangular scarf. And the stitches have been chosen so that they're really good on both sides, so you don't have to worry about there being a right side or a wrong side. And because I'm having so much fun playing with my chroma colors, which is this whole color system that we've been using, two of these are chroma colors, but I've now added in this very intensely saturated raspberry, which shows you that you can, in fact, bring in highly saturated colors to this whole scheme. And these, the chroma colors, I'll do a really quick recap. The chroma colors are 12 colors in each of chroma and chroma noir. I can do that really quickly. I didn't think I was going to talk about this again, but it's hard to start talking about it if people don't have a clue what I'm talking about. So we'll just real quickly do this. Chroma and chroma noir. This is a series of colors that you will notice are basically all the same intensity. And that means that those colors can be used together. Do I have all 12? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I'm missing one. Who am I missing down here? I don't know, but we're going to ignore the fact that one's missing, or maybe I miscounted. They seem like they're all here. Oh no, oregano is missing. That's all right. You can see that they're basically all the same sort of level. Yes, of course, the yellow ones are a little bit brighter, but they're the same kind of saturation. And when you look at this, you can see that that raspberry is much more highly saturated than this, which is one of the colors that's in here, okay? There's this range, and then there is the darker range called chroma noir, and those are the same colors, just all taken down a shade or two so that they're much deeper. Not everybody likes those lighter, brighter colors, and not everybody likes these deep, rich colors. In the case of this scarf, I've used one from each. I've used a lighter version and a deeper version. Okay, so that's the chroma lesson for today. We don't have enough time to spend a lot of time on it. So this is, in fact, the same pattern as the scarf that was called Jaipur in the triple treat. So some of you will know that, will have already have that pattern. And for those of you who haven't seen it, it's a very generously wide scarf. And the way that it's best worn, it's long on purpose, okay? Because you can just wrap it, and that's going to stay put. Or you can do a couple of different things that I like very much. So I've taken this, it's roughly at the halfway point. And a lot of you know that you can do this, where you just pull the whole thing through. But there's an even cooler thing that you can do. So when you pull one side through, now you've got the other side sitting here. If you go in the same way that that one went through and pull the other half through, what you get is a much flatter presentation here on your chest. Not all of us want to have added bulk here. So I'm going to turn sideways so you can see how neatly that lays. And then I'm going to do the other way so you can see how much bulkier it is. All right, so this pattern with the little remake in terms of, and these are all solid colors. Now, you know, most of you guys are used to me doing lots of hand-dyed. Well, they're hand-dyed colors, all right, but they are tone-on-tone, semi-solid hand-dyed colors. Well, the same pattern, included in the same pattern, is a new wrap. And I'm pretty proud of this one, I must say. This is a big arced wrap that is asymmetrical. You can see that the biggest dip is not in the center. One end is very, very long, and the other end is a little bit shorter. And this allows you to wear it in a whole lot of ways. And I'll talk about the color in a minute, but let me show you how much fun this can be. So you can put the deep end, the deepest dip at the center of your back, and you see what a difference there is in the sides. So this kind of crosses over, this comes around and around. And because it continues to arc, the end of it just falls in this really lovely, you might have to twist it a little bit to get it to do that, this really lovely little almost a spiral. It's not really a ruffle, it's a spiral. So this is now firmly on your shoulders. I don't have to clasp it in any way. I don't have to wear a shawl pin. I don't have to wear a cuff, but you can do any of those things. And it has a beautiful look in the back. Or you can wear it a little asymmetrically. Okay, so now I'm going to put this short end here and the longer end over this shoulder, the deep end over my shoulder, not in the back, and bring this around and around. You kind of fuss around a little bit to get the folds nice. And what's pretty about this is, wait till you see what it looks like. There we go. In the back, where you get the layers, because it's tapered, you get the layers of what's happening with those short rows and the crescent. And that's a very pretty way. And I'm sitting here, I'm being me, I'm moving my arms around, and this is really staying put very nicely. You also can put the deepest end in front. Start with the short end here, put the deep end in front, bring it around, and again, let this drop. Now, this is if you want to wear it almost more like a cowl. So I've pulled it up off of my shoulders, and that's also a very beautiful way to wear this piece. So this is the dynamic duo. It's the same ingredients as the triple treat. So it is a skein of Petite Madison, a skein of Radiant Petite Madison, which has a little bit of sparkle in it, and a skein of Shimmerati, which has the sequins. So it's just a little bit of glitz in it. Now, there always has to be a color lesson, right? So here's the color lesson on this piece. So this one in particular, both of these are kind of pattern heavy. That is, that there are pattern stitches involved in it, as well as the intricacies of the shaping. So in order to have patterns show up, you have to have some light and dark contrast. So this combination certainly has that. You know, there's the Shimmerati's kind of in the middle, and then there's a really light one and a really dark one. And that's true of this. But there's another way to have contrast. That would be true, by the way, here too, because between the orange and the olive, there's a lot of contrast. Then the contrast with the raspberry is that there's a lot of hue contrast between the olive and the raspberry. Not light and dark contrast, but across the color wheel contrast. This same wrap done in a combination that has more hue contrast than pattern than value contrast produces a much more I don't want to say refined, subdued, a much more subdued color story as opposed to a pattern story. So if we put this on in the same way, I'll just do it this way because I'm facing the camera. If we do it the same way we just did that, it's much more of a color story as opposed to the pattern story. Guess what? Here's the fun thing. You guys get to decide what appeals to you more, whether you like a color story or whether you like a pattern story. Now, it's still worth doing the pattern stitches. They're not difficult pattern stitches. It's fun to knit pattern stitches. They're all 4-row pattern stitches, so it's easy to memorize them. And because there's enough difference between whatever 2 yarns you're working with, it's pretty easy to follow those 4 rows. So this, when I step back, I want you to see the difference in how they read. So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to come way back here. So this from a distance is much more about the color, whereas this from a distance, you see, because of the strong light and dark, it kind of grays it and muddies it a little bit, whereas this color stays stronger. You don't really see the pattern so much from far away. As I move forward and you get closer to me, then this pattern shows up more than this pattern. You have to get pretty close to really see the pattern stitching in there. That is simply to show you what the difference would be when you go to look at what the color options are. So I have not all of the ones that are on the website. I don't have them all in front of me, but I have a few. So this one is obviously something with high contrast. So this is going to show the pattern very well. This is going to show the pattern very well because there's a lot of contrast between these two. Okay, the Shimmerati being somewhere in the center. If you chose to do the arced wrap out of these colors, you would have plenty of the pattern showing. This is more the other one. You see how there's not a lot of contrast between these two, and then the Shimmerati is sort of in the middle. The contrast here is in hue. Okay, they're not just both greens or both reds. There's a a deep winey red and an olivey green, and those are pretty much separated on the color wheel. So you have to have one kind of contrast or the other, or you're doing a lot of work and it's not going to show up. So it would be equally beautiful if you chose a light blue and a dark blue with something as an accent in the middle. So we have on the website the dynamic duo, a number of colors that we've put together for you. Also, you can look at triple treat. It's the same ingredients. So you could get a triple treat color selection and write in the memo that you want the dynamic duo pattern, and that would all come as the one kit. And as a bonus to you today, the patterns when they're purchased with the yarn, Prism is giving those to you as our gift. So you're not paying for patterns today. It's a little incentive to make the purchases now. No, gotta have. And it's a little reward for you being here with us today instead of looking at the recording at a later date. Okay, do we have any questions about these? Carrie, any questions?
No, Laura, nope, none. Anybody?
Okay.
Okay.
You think I answered it all? Think I did that? Okay. All right, great. We can come back if we have time at the end and if anybody has a
Laura,
question. Yeah.
somebody is asking what the fiber content is.
So Petite Madison, both the sparkly one and the plain one, are fine merino, cashmere, and silk. So they are a singles construction. So they're not like a workhorse yarn, but they're perfect for accessories. The Shimmerati is fine merino and silk as well with sequins that are threaded on the silk strand. Okay, and they're basically sock weight yarns. Not that you would ever use it for a sock, but they're basically sock weight yarns. But for these kind of accessories, I put them up on a bigger needle because I like the drape and the softness and the fact that it goes further, and you can do these things with just the 3 skeins of yarn as opposed to needing multiples. So they're opened up a little bit more than you would expect. They range from a size 4 to a size 6 needle, depending on your gauge, of course. So, okay.
Great, thanks, Laura.
Okay. Now we have something that's really kind of fun. This is it's a set, but okay, here's the strip and go naked part. So I do have a tank top on underneath this, but there are a lot of things that are meant to be worn, not just as accessories. And so I want to be able to show them to you as they would look if you were seriously wearing it. So this is fine kid mohair, which is as soft as a cloud, and Shimmerati, which is the sequin yarn. And here is a little tunic that's actually part of a set. There is a jacket that goes with it. And when I hold this up, you can see that the kid mohair is knit very loosely. It's a much finer gauge than normally than the Shimmerati portion of it. So the kid mohair portion is very sheer, and the Shimmerati portion is more dense. And this jacket is a nice Eileen Fisher style oversized jacket that, you know, looks good on many body types. But we're more focused on the tunic today. So the jacket's an option, and it is in there both as the jacket and tunic together or as the tunic alone. Now, I have to tell you, when I finished this tunic, I was in love with it. I thought, oh my God, I want one of these in every single color. Let me get up on my tall thing so you can see. It's got a great little A-line shape. It is kid mohair alone up until here, and then you start to get more and more and more shimmerati until you get up in the bust area. It's almost all shimmerati. So I do have a tank underneath this, and I suppose that I would probably always wear a tank underneath it because I'm not into showing this part of my body. But one of the things I love about this, aside from how great the shape looks, because it really is adorable, is that it absolutely can be turned around the other way. So the neck has been very carefully shaped so that it's still a really attractive neckline this way. And then you have the sort of very sexy little surprise of it being a V-neck in the back. And if you didn't want the V-neck, there's enough yarn to actually do the same neck shaping both front and back. So we haven't done a lot of colors in this. We started originally with a navy that I don't even have any samples of anymore. This is what I'm wearing, this plum. There's a ruby red that's outrageous, and I need to dye more shimmerati, but that's the red. It's beautiful platinum gray. And we just did, on request for someone, this gorgeous teal. And that's my next one, because that is really my color. And I'm going to do that for myself. I just think that's divine. And we had someone who was kind of moving around with some other colorways, and I pulled it together for her. So it's not on the website, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. You know that all of us, me and Quantel, are always willing to do whatever it is you really want. So this is the embers and bark combination, and I'm going to get close enough that you can see just how gorgeous this is. Now the embers has some multicolor in it, so you're going to get some drifts of those different colors, and then the bark is just the perfect combination to have with it. Just really lovely. So do I have any questions about this?
I don't think, Laura, but everybody just know if you have a question at the end, just open up, unmute yourself, and feel free to speak while we have Laura. Use and abuse her.
Okay. All right. So we're going to leave the wool world behind here, and we're going to move into linen and tencel, because you know what? It's springtime, and everybody is, thank goodness, starting to be optimistic about where we're going in the world, and we still have knitting time, but it might be nice to do some smaller projects that are warm weather materials. Now, I do consider this a warm weather material simply because it's so airy. It's not, if you put the jacket on, well, that's a different story, but if you just have this tunic on, that is not. Let us remember that men's tropical weight suits are made of wool and or mohair. So those fibers breathe. They can be insulating, but they also allow heat to escape. So don't be afraid of that.
Laura?
Yes.
Can you throw that jacket on for a quick second?
Again, sure.
We didn't have it on, did we?
I had the jacket on.
Oh, gosh, sorry.
Briefly. I did have it on briefly.
So there is a question about summary shades for this yarn and pattern. And of course, you do a zillion shades. You do soft pastels and medium colors. There's peaches and aquas. So Pam, whatever color that you love, it can be dyed.
So a good thing to look at, I think, would be the chroma, the original 12 chroma colors. But you can also, on the Prism website, which is prismyarnsingular.com, you can go to colors and you can explore all the different colors that we do. So sand wash solids, layers colors, chroma colors, And frankly, you can pick any of those and we can do it. Now, I can do the set, the jacket and tunic for anything. But I can't do just the tunic because it's only a few skeins of yarn. I can't dye a non-inventoried yarn color just for the 4 skeins of yarn that you need to do that tunic. So just keep that in mind. For the set, the tunic and jacket, I'll do any color that you want. But unless it's a color that we have some extra interest in, we can talk, Fontel. Fontel and I can talk. If we think that it's a color that a lot of people might like, then we would consider doing it. So,
Laura, would you just hold the jacket up against the white screen? It's absolutely beautiful
Yeah.
when you see how, oh, it's just gorgeous. Oh, come away a bit. Yes. I think everyone can just see how light and airy it is. And the same is true of the tunic as well. It's just,
yeah.
It's a weightless piece that's just elegant as can be. Thank you, Laura.
Honestly, this tunic weighs 4 ounces. It's 4 or 5 ounces. It's just, you know, it is just weightless.
Thank you.
And I was so tickled with how flattering it is. I just think that the shape, everything about that just turned out just right.
Yeah, I agree.
So, okay. So we're going to move on to linen, which we carry linen, and it's Euroflex fine Belgium linen. And let me tell you, there is a huge difference between the Euroflex linen coming from Belgium, where it's made in old world ways, and the Asian linen that is made using chemical means to ret the linen and is harsher. And just not as high quality. So that's a fact. So I don't mind saying it. That's a fact. But it is more costly. Euroflex is more costly than other linens. So many of you will have seen this in vogue. Gosh, it wasn't even last spring. It was the spring before, or was it last? I don't even remember now. You know, we all have COVID brain. And it's like we lost this entire year. So I don't remember if this was last year or the year before. I think it was the year before. So this is a boxy tee a la Eileen Fisher. In fact, I honestly bought an Eileen Fisher top because I loved how it looked and took the dimensions off of that to make this tee, which is, to me, the perfect summer tee. Now, it's big and boxy. It's quite a lot of ease in the body. But if you're wearing it with narrower bottoms, it doesn't make you look big, in large part because the armholes are so tight. So you have to do a little bit of customizing yourself, but there's no shaping. So it's purely where you sew the armhole to. They're shaping here, and that's one reason that it works. You don't wind up with a whole lot of fabric here because it's dropping over your shoulder here. It is knit in 4 panels with the panels joined with an external 3-needle bind off. Partly that's because it's very fun to have the interplay of the stripes not matching. Partly it's because it's very nice to have this accent edge that goes down the vertical, and I will hold it closer to you so you can see that. This has been machine washed a couple of times. We do use a high level industrial strength softener. So linen can be a little harsh on your hands. It gets softer and softer the more that you wash it. It comes to you a little bit softened anyway. You will find that our linen is much kinder to work with than anybody else's linen. So this is lace weight linen. And the way that this works is that there are 4 colors, and all these different variations of color are made by carrying 2 strands together. So when you carry them in their different aspects, you get all these really fabulous variations of color that are just so fun. And the pattern does tell you how many rows of each to do because it was made for Vogue and they insist on that. But you really don't have to follow that. If you're keeping track of, like not using all the color up in one area, then you're going to be fine. And it's not critical that they all be used exactly like they are. It's 4 colors, but it's 5 skeins. So one skein is made to be the predominant one. And in this case, it is this bright corally pink. And it has, I'm going to do my little get up on the table thing here because I want to get close enough. This is close enough that you can see this. There's a really sweet finish on the edge. You see how cool that is? That beautiful finish. It's almost like a braiding right there. It's the easiest finish you have ever done. It looks so spectacular. It is as simple as, okay, get ready for this. You have all 4 colors. And you're using them double strand at this point, each of the 4 colors. And you have them all on the side facing you and you're purling. And you're purling A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D. And every time you pick up the next one, you're picking it up underneath the other 3. And that's what gives you that just amazing little edge, which is a very cool thing. So this you will have to purchase the pattern from Vogue because it is copyrighted to them. But I did a couple other pieces that are done exactly the same way, and it may be more flattering to a lot of people. So this is an A-line tunic. So you don't have any bulk here, and instead you have it flowing over your hips, okay? Made the same way in the 4 panels with the 3 needle bind off. The stripes do not match. Again, 5 skeins, and you're combining the different colors in different ways. So this has a little bit deeper front neckline and not so deep a neckline in the back. I think that means, I actually hadn't thought about that, but I think that means that you could wear the higher neckline in the front if you wanted to. Yes. Yep. So that's just a little higher neckline. And none of the panels match exactly. It's a very fun thing to do. And I know some of our great knitters have done this piece. My sister's just finishing up her choice, which was in like a peacock turquoise blue with some raspberry accents, and it's looking really fantastic as well. The color of this one, this is something that I dreamt up. I happen to really like these colors. It's maybe not what everybody will like, but some of you might. I like it. And then next to me on the mannequin is a dress version. And this is the same shaping as this tunic, but longer, just longer. So it takes a 6th skein to do. This and this take the same amount of yarn. Okay, there's a big difference in length, but this one is much smaller across the top. So whatever you're using in the length is what you're not using up top. So I'm going to show you this one a little bit closer too, because these colors are very different. And this shows you how much fun it is. You know, you get some areas that are real marled looking, and you get some areas where you've got opposites. So you've got the turquoise and the coral, and it's really rich when you're up close, and it just gets more sort of pearly gray when you get back, which is a really fun thing to do with color. Really fun thing. I didn't do the fancy edge on this one, but you could. Okay, do I have any questions about that? We have several choices on the website. And again, we are all about doing what it is you would like to have. So if you really want to do one of these and you don't see the color you like, tell me what colors you do like. We've become very good at taking cell phone snaps and then either texting them or emailing them to you so you can look at what your choices might be. And I'm happy to do that. Happy to do that for you. in fact, I've never had the ability to do that really. So Zoom has been a wonderful thing for that reason. So do I have any questions about those? Okay. Also with lace weight linen, here is a little chevron tee, and you can see how sheer this is. Or you can do it with sport weight linen, and it is exactly the same pattern, just the same needle size, just a question of whether you want fuller coverage or lighter coverage. So if you want this little lace weight tee, it takes only 2 skeins of linen to do this. And it's a perfect layering piece. I mean, it looks fabulous over a tank or a camisole like this. It's just a really, really nice layering piece. And it is cloud weight, feather weight. Just what more can you say? It's a very simple 2-row chevron pattern, which if you've never done a chevron pattern, once they're set up, once you get the first row right, and you get a few more rows, you don't have to count anymore. It's obvious where your decreases go and where your increases go, and it's just a very easy, pleasant knitting to do. Now, this is the short sleeve version, and I'm going to put on the sport weight. So you can see, again, just how sheer that is. These are 2 different sizes, which is why they're going to fit me differently. So even with this, because of the eyelets, because it's an eyelet lace pattern, even there, I wouldn't wear a black tank under it, but you might want to have a tank or a camisole that is closer, that is good in color for it. That's the cap sleeve version, okay? So this is the large, and I would definitely, because it doesn't make you look big because it's so drapey, all right? This is probably the small. And I probably shouldn't be wearing this as a small, maybe not. I don't know, not with leggings, let's put it that way. Maybe with more structured pants. It's not bad up here, but you know, we all have those things that we want to hide. So so there we go. And I have a lot of this in stock, so it can be an immediate ship to you. So I pulled out a bunch of the colors that I have. I have all of these colors in the lace linen, and I have white stock that's undyed that could be quickly dyed. We're all caught up. I would say that orders that you might place today, if it's in stock, you'll have it by the end of next week. If it has to be dyed, give me 2 to 3 weeks for it to be at your doorstep. And here are all the gorgeous sport weight colors that we have. So there's a lot that's in stock that could get you knitting really quickly on the perfect summer tee. So do we have any?
These are beautiful, Laura. I don't see any questions, but wait, there's one. What is the middle purple lace weight color?
This one, raspberry, gorgeous color.
And what is the weight of Merino Mia? Oh,
Merino Mia is basically a sock weight yarn, and it's the same gauge, suggested gauge as Mia 2, which is our replacement for Merino Mia, which we've had to discontinue, and the same suggested gauge as Petite Madison, except when I open Petite Madison up. So they're all kind of interchangeable on whatever project that you would be interested in.
any other colors that somebody would like to see held up? Okay, I think we're good, Laura.
Okay, all right. Well, and that brings us to, oh, we're doing great. Okay.
Wait a minute, Laura. Somebody's asking to see the green.
The green.
Okay, there's several greens. So we have this very dark blue green in the lace weight. And then we have Honeydew, which is this very lovely lime green, and 1006, which is more of a sea green. Okay. Mhm.
The name of the Vogue pattern is called the Boxy Tee.
Boxy Tee. And
And
it
Laura,
was in
it was,
spring, summer 19. It was in
Yeah.
spring, summer 19.
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to put my shirt back on so I don't feel so naked here. Because I'll take it off again if I have to be modeling something that doesn't look that needs to be over this. Okay, this next piece is really a fun piece. We unfortunately, for those of you who've ever knit with our tencel, it is a fabulous fiber. Tencel is related to rayon, but it's way better than rayon. It's 9 times more absorbent than cotton. It's made in a sustainable way. The trees that are grown, they don't harvest the trees, they harvest the limbs. They can go back the next year and harvest the limbs again. It's made in what's called a closed loop system, which means 98% of the chemical needed to make the slurry to do the extrusion is recaptured and used again for the next batch. Textile production, unfortunately, all textiles, they're not very environmentally friendly. So when we find something that is kind to the environment, we kind of get behind it. Unfortunately, because I'm becoming of an age, I could have gotten more tencel, but it would have been a 5-year supply, and I can't guarantee to you guys that I'm going to be here dyeing yarn in 5 years. Maybe not. So we decided to discontinue it, but I have fair numbers of stocks of tencel. So I put together, you may have noticed the scarves that Carrie and Fontel are wearing when they came on. And this is a little thing that I developed. It's corrugated rib, which really is just stockinette and reverse stockinette. Well, what happens when that happens? Stockinette curls toward the purl, and reverse stockinette curls toward the knit, and stockinette curls toward the purl. So what you have when you alternate it is you have a fabric that you can see goes like this. Well, when you change color from side to side, you get basically a two-sided fabric, where in this case the light predominates. In this case, the dark more predominates. And it's a very elastic fabric. And because both sides are pretty, again, you don't have to worry about what is showing. So this is a nice little warm weather scarf. There, I've got it so that you can see the two sides. And there's an accent color in it. So I went into the stash and pulled out a bunch of kits that will work with this. So I'm going to show them to you. They are all on the website. And some of them have more contrast than others. Okay, so the middle color is in each case just the little one row. And it's that one row that makes the turn from doing stockinette to making reverse stockinette. So we have some really highly contrasting combinations. Oh, that goes with that. And then we have some sort of sweet, I love this one. It's got a little multicolor in the middle. And I think this is great. A little neutral and a little colorful. Great for spring. And a really neutrally oriented one with, you know, a mocha brown and a cream, and then a little green accent. Or that same green with a darker version and a bright little happy pink and orange accent. Or a bold one with an orange and a gray, which really look nice next to each other, and a really multicolored accent. So those are all named basically after their center color, but all of these, whatever I have, 7, all of these 7 things are on the website. Again, if you would like to do this and you are not seeing a color scheme that floats your boat, give me an idea of what you do like. These I picked because I can do multiple kits, so I didn't want you guys to be fighting over them. I can do multiple kits of these. Therefore, we could put them up on the website, but I can do a lot of one-of-a-kind kits. And okay, Carrie and Fontel, I didn't, I forgot to tell you that I was willing to give one of these away as a prize. So here's a really easy way to do it. Are there numbers beyond everybody's names
No.
on your list of participants?
No,
No.
no.
So I'm going to tell you, go to the bottom of the list. Can you do that?
I'm at the bottom.
Yeah.
Count back 7 people.
Oh, I love it.
Okay, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
She's getting there.
7.
7.
All right.
That's our winner.
It's Natalie from the Sewing Palace.
Okay, Natalie. So
Yeah.
you get to have your choice. These are all things that I can do again. So you can have your choice of which one you want. You just let Fontel know that either in the chat, and then you're going to have to make sure that they have your address so I can send it to you.
So Natalie, just put a
Okay. Are there any questions about this? This is a quick knit. Fontel, you've got another one there. Do you want to show it?
Sure.
The
So-
ones that Fontel and Carrie are wearing were done in Petite Madison and Shimarati, but she has one done in the Tencel on one of the mannequins.
Here, coming forward. There we go. So this is my model. And I wear this all the time. You know, it just has such nice drape. It has structure, but it's still drapey. It's one of those kind of very complimentary things to wear. So.
What did you, and Carrie, you did something really sweet with it the first time you saw it. I think you did twice around and then just did a little.
I tie.
Yeah, just a little knot.
Yeah.
And that's a really nice thing. You know, frankly, a lot of us don't like having, A, we don't like having our necks showing. B, you get cold when stuff is blowing around your neck. So having a lightweight, breathable piece like this is a really nice option. Okay, we good? All right, Natalie, just make sure that are you going to be able to identify which one you want? You can pick it off the website so it has a title to it.
I love
right.
the green and coral.
The green and coral.
Right there. You just touched
This one.
it. No,
This
the
one?
No, the
No,
one right next to it. No,
this one.
Yes.
That one.
Yes.
Okay.
That's beautiful.
That one's called Carnival.
Carnival.
Carnival. All right, you're on. Okay,
Thank you.
excellent.
Laura,
It always pays to come to a Prism event because there's always goodies of one kind or another.
Laura, for
Yes.
the one that you just put, the pastel one, what's the middle color?
Gelato. And it's a neat color because it's got pink and green, pale pink, pale green, and pale blue in it, but it's got an anchor of beige.
Mm-hmm.
So it keeps it from being too sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And this
Laura,
is take, right, Laura?
What?
Double take.
No, this is the yin and yang scarf.
That's right. Yin and yang.
Yin and yang.
Yes.
And
Okay.
what was the color with the gray and the bold? It looked like it was orange.
This one. This is Rio. So you've got a light aqua and a deep gray blue, and then the Rio is actually kind of multicolored. There's some orange, scarlet, and cherry in it.
Actually, it looked like it was gray and like a really bold orange. You showed it like as the last.
Yep. Yep. This one is Harvest.
Yes. Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah, it's real pretty. And I take all the photographs and I do color correct them. So of course, one never knows with your own monitor what might be happening, but they're pretty darn accurate. Okay, we good, Carrie?
We're good.
We're good, Laura.
All right. So again, some of you may have seen these, but it's a very nice project for this time of year in that it's not, the yarns are not thick, and you're getting, again, I really am fascinated with the whole sheer idea. So what we have here is a very long floaty scarf that is phenomenal put together this way. And it's so generous that, you know, you can see that you don't even have to pull this up tight to your neck. It's just like, just right there, that little woven thing. And it consists of gossamer, which is our lace weight kid mohair, and shimmerati, which is the sequin yarn. And the way that it's made, and you can kind of see it better here, is you have bobbins of the shimmerati, and they are carried along with and knitted along with the gossamer on that particular stitch. So it's an easy lace pattern, and when every time you come to the bobbin, it just gets knit with that stitch. So we have this is called the lace leaf tunic. I think that's what it is, the lace leaf tunic. So the same amount that makes this long, generous scarf also makes this fabulous, easy breezy tunic. So again, you've got that total sheer look. It's very drapable, so it flows on you. It's not stretched over anything that you don't want it to be stretched over. You can make those slits as high or not as you want. That's an easy change. I added a ribbed cuff here, but you don't have to, or you can make that as deep as you want to. Again, it's a question of deciding where you want this to be. Now, I will tell you that the key to making these look good on you is to have the sleeve as tight as your bicep is comfortable having. Okay, if this is too deep and open, then it looks too big on you. You don't get that neat tidiness that happens when it drapes from this being here, being firm here. And again, if you don't like this low neck, this is perfectly nice with the higher neck in front. So you can either make the front and the back the same, or you can have that little lower neckline in the back, which is kind of a fun detail. So I didn't bring all the colors that we have because we have lots and lots and lots of them. A lot of these pieces, these last few pieces, are very reasonably priced. These are not bank buster pieces. So it's kind of a really nice opportunity to work with really exquisite materials without breaking the bank. But this is what it looks like. It's 2 skeins of shimmerati and a skein of kid mohair, of gossamer, lace weight kid mohair. All right, any questions about that? We have lots of colors available on the site. The reason I don't have lots of things to show you is because I sold all the ones that we showed before, and I haven't had time to pull new ones. So, so this is what it looks like, but the colors are repeatable. They're absolutely repeatable, the ones that are on the website.
I just
Okay.
want to say one thing before we go further, Laura. We have about 6 minutes, and though
Okay.
we go over, for anybody who needs to jump off in 6 minutes, do you have any questions right now? Okay.
All right.
Well, good. This is 6 minutes is about perfect for what's left. Okay. So what is left is I am doing, some of you may have noticed in the schedule, I am doing in an hour, a 30 to 45 minute presentation on magic number knitting, which is capturing the repeat in a hand-dyed yarn to make patterns occur while you're knitting. And I'm going to show you a couple of things starting with the simplest, which is this. Now, if you've ever wanted to try this, the reason I'm bringing this up right now is because that little demo that I'm going to do is absolutely going to demystify it for you. You're going to understand very well how to make this happen. So this is the simplest thing that you can do. This is knit in the round, and it is using this, which you can see the yarn colors, the colors dyed in there. And this is a fabulous little cowl that either can be worn down or doubled up. It is shimmerati, which means that it's merino and silk, so it's a little warmer. This isn't necessarily a right now piece, although I feel comfortable in here right now having this on. It's not too much. So that's a really simple thing. And that takes 3 skeins of shimmerati. And we have on the website, again, a few different colors. And you want to look, to do this kind of work, you want to look for the Prism dyeing style that says ECOT. That's what it says in front of the color name, ECOT. So this is ECOT Dune. This is ECOT Blues. This is ECOT Wisteria. And they all have 2 sections of cream and 2 sections of color. So it goes color, cream, other color, cream, and then back to the first color. And this is 1 magic number is what it takes to go from here to here. So across all 4 colors. This cowl is 3 magic numbers. And you can see that because it's got 1, 2, 3 sections of beige. More to follow if you come to my demo, okay? But that's one option. And many of you will remember, because it was a big deal when this was on the cover of Vogue. Gosh, we're going back maybe 5 years now. And this is called Checks Please. Now, this is the 4-ply version of Petite Madison. So this is called Madison, and it is merino, cashmere, and silk. This is the most luxurious wrap that you could ever ask for. I mean, this is and will never go out of style. It's kind of, okay, ECOT, maybe, yes, no. This is a for real, this is a forever piece. This is a very generously sized wrap that is long enough to do, this whole business. And again, these checkerboards are all made from the yarn. So you're not tying, of course you have to tie in ends. I mean, every time you start a new ball, you have to tie in ends, but you're not tying in ends every time you go from gray to cream. And you can see in the knitting that where the colors kind of fade in and out from one another. All right, so we have that. And we have this, which was spring, summer 2020, spring, summer 2020 Vogue. And this is getting a little fancier. Again, though, that is just made with ECOT dyed yarn. And when you look at it, you can see where the color bleeds from one part to another. Well, this is tricky because you're alternating between yarn over knit 2 togethers and yarn over SSKs. And one makes it go this way and one makes it go that way. And that's how you get that fabulous zigzag effect. It's simply from it's the same concept. All 3 of these pieces are the same concept. If you learn how to do one, you can do any of them. So we're offering those because it ties into what I'm showing this afternoon. And if you ever wanted to try it, now is the time. And this does come in a whole range of colors. And I think we've got most of those up there, Fontel. I think we've got most of these colors up there. So it's kind of whatever you want, you can have. And that's my presentation. So if there are any questions, I'd be happy to entertain them.
And Laura,
Bye, Teresa.
Laura, I'm going to also jump in and say to everyone who's joining us, if you have questions later on, please send me an email or call the store. I am going to be here all day, happy to answer any questions and help you with an order or such. So just let me know. Okay. Thank you.
And absolutely, when we start talking about, these bespoke things, I appreciate if you don't contact me directly. Contact Fontel, discuss with her. Often she has yarns in stock or she can make suggestions. At any point when you need to consult with me, she absolutely brings me into the loop and we will make something that is your heart's desire. And Teresa knows that because she's the one who asked for that beautiful teal Starry Night
Yeah,
and got it.
that color was gorgeous.
Yeah, the color is gorgeous.
Any other questions? Anybody? Oh, thank you.
Boy, yeah. All right, Laura. Thank you, Laura, once again. I mean, this has just been such an informative hour. You know, I learn something every time. You know, we've been doing this a long, long time, and I'm sitting going, I didn't know that. I love the part about Tencel. I mean, it's a wonderful story.
Mhm.
And Lennon as well. So for my thanks, Carrie's thanks, Laura, you did a wonderful job. And to all of you that are out there, thank you so much for joining us. Again, let me know if I can help in any way, but thank you again for being a part of Great Yarns, Stitches at Home, and Laura Bryant and Prism Yarns. Thank you again.
Thanks, guys.
Bye now.
Thanks, Laura. Bye, everybody.